Flash Season 2, Episode 7, Guerrilla Warfare. So this episode kind of picks up where pretty much, I think it was like a week after the last episode, so appropriate. And we see Barry, of course, he's not as injured as we kind of knew, because even in the preview, they showed him standing at some point, and he already, in the preview once again, he had a cane and everything, so it's like, alright, he's going to heal, he'll be able to walk. And it turns out that in this episode, it was really easy. He was able to walk and run and everything. It was just mental because he got his butt kicked again, which I can understand. Like, the first time, he's learning and everything, and then it's like, alright, I got beat up because there's this guy that I just don't know. And even then, I don't think we really had a moment where he was, like, broken down like he was. So, he had really tough moments in Season 1, and then it's like, I beat him. I won. I beat the person. Now I'm really used to being the Flash. Everything's kind of, I can't say it worked out because of some of the stuff that's happened, but things are going along accordingly, and I'm able to win. And he stops the villains, saves the day. He's got the key to the city and everything, and then he gets his spine broken, and he's flung around like a rag doll, and it messed him up. Like, it really messed him up, and he couldn't really do his powers like he wanted to. And, that brings in his father, which was really awesome. Didn't expect to see his dad in this episode, so we have Henry Allen coming back in, and he supports him, and, he kind of gets him out there. He really doesn't let him falter anymore. Like, he talks to him, he knows instantly, like, oh, it's just in your head, like, that's all there is to it. So, he kind of helps him out. He gets him there pretty much from the beginning. He's like, look, you can run, you can walk, you can run, it's all in your head. That's pretty much it. Also, another thing that it does in this episode is kind of confirm that he could be Zoom. It confirms it because I mentioned this before, that he, depending on how they were doing the story, because I wasn't 100% sure, he could be a scientist or something. And he talks about, like, he said all this fancy bone stuff that I don't know, and I was like, he could have totally been in Earth 2 doing the exact same thing, and he could easily be Zoom. So that kind of, just a little notch, because obviously there's so many different things where it's like, alright, we know it's not Barry because of the build of the person, so it's kind of like it's either Henry, or it's Joe, or it's someone random, which I hope is not, because that would kind of suck. It was just like, we don't know this person, it's just a random villain. Still be a cool villain, but it would just kind of be like, a random person. So, one of those two, and now it kind of puts another notch where it's like, alright, totally could have been Henry in Earth 2 if he happened to also be a scientist, which Harrison Wells still was, so, why not Barry's father? So that's just another thing where it's like, alright, another note just to mentally, like, he could have been the same way in Earth 2, and that, could have been what happened. So, great to see him back. Cool to get that little bit of confirmation. We have Cisco doing his vibe stuff with Hawk Girl. Totally forgot her name. I don't even remember her name, to be honest. It's unfortunate, but they go on their date and stuff. He vibes on her. He thinks he sees Hawkman at first. He thought it was a guy. And then by the end, it's like, holy crap, the girl I'm dating is going to be a superhero at some point, which is coming up pretty soon. And apparently it's going to be in the crossover thing. I didn't know that they were going to do Hawk Girl during the crossover, so that's kind of cool. I thought that wasn't going to be until Legends of Tomorrow. So it's really cool that she's going to be in the actual crossover, because that's super, super fast compared to what I thought. I thought it would be like a lot of lead up, and if she already gets her powers and everything, and I'm assuming she's just gonna be metahuman compared to in the actual thing, like, she has wings, but it's alien stuff, it doesn't really matter at this point. But multiple versions of her, different ways that she can fly and have wings and stuff, so I'm assuming she'll be metahuman. She can just, she'll have her wings. Maybe she can pop them in and out or something, I guess. I don't know. But it was kind of cool that they kind of touched on that. It'll be great to see her in the crossover, which I'm assuming is going to be in the Flash half of the crossover for December 1st, since we sadly aren't getting an episode this week because of Thanksgiving. But it was cool to see that they're kind of pushing that. It's like, it's happening. She's going to be Hawk Girl in the next episode of The Flash. So, really looking forward to that. The action in this episode was fairly interesting, because most of it, oddly enough, most of the action revolved around Barry trying to use his powers, and everything else is kind of like, Gorilla Grodd, he bashed like that first guy in the beginning, which Also, we got to see him use his mental abilities a lot more, which is really cool. Like I don't know, who knows how far away he was, but he mentally messed with that guy he was inside the building, and Gorilla Grodd was somewhere, maybe on top of the building, I would assume. And he was able to mind control that guy. And I thought that was actually pretty cool that he was able to do that, because it shows how strong he'd gotten and how dangerous, he was going to become. And he totally kills that guy. He knocks him like straight up in the air. He was dead. Like, that was it. He just destroyed that guy. Patty knew that it was gorilla hair. Joe was terrible at covering up that he knew exactly what was happening, which was just like, it was just one more episode where she got like 8 million hints because of Barry faking that he was sick, and the gorilla hair and Joe being like, oh crap, I gotta go. Every episode they're giving her at least one hint per episode. She's getting something. Like, obviously she knows that it's Barry and Joe together know this secret. She doesn't really know, like Caitlin and Cisco, she doesn't know. I don't think she's even met them yet at this point, but she knows something's going on. So it's like every episode they're getting some hints. A terrible lying in this episode, or mixed match lying, I guess, in this episode with Barry. So it's gonna be really fast. I don't know if they'll even make it past this crossover without her finding out, to be totally honest. They might, because they'll all be off in Star City, so maybe they'll be able to hide it for like another week. But every episode she's getting something, and this one was just like, the soup thing and then the gorilla thing. It's just like, now you got 2 hints, and there's gonna be something else next week. I'm sure during the crossover there's gonna be some little hint, maybe. But it was just crazy. It's like she's getting more and more hints. At this point, they might as well just be like, look, I'm the Flash. Everybody else knows anyway. Like, anyone that's been on the show knows that he's the Flash. Seemingly, it's kind of how it plays. But I don't know. Like, I don't see it taking too much longer for her to know, like, oh, put it together. Eventually they're going to be somewhere, and I think that'll be the answer. It'll be like the typical superhero thing where it's like, oh, you were with this person, you disappeared, superhero shows up, superhero disappeared, you showed back up. Because that's always the thing that no one figures out in superhero shows, and I would love it if that was how they did it, where Patty figured it out from the thing no one ever figures out. It's almost like the Superman thing, like the glasses and stuff, which is currently happening in Supergirl right now. I would love for that to be the case, where it's like, oh, you disappeared, Flash showed up, Flash disappeared, Barry showed up again, you're Flash. And then she just has it, and it's like, he would probably deny it even if that were the case, but if that's how they do it, that would be so amazing to me, because I would love for them to mess with that trope, because that's how it always is. No one figures it out for like 8 seasons. People don't figure that crap out until the person actually tells them, like, I'm that superhero, and then they're like, oh, that's why you were disappearing. And then all those times people just get mad or don't figure it out. That's it. It's either the people get mad because they always vanish, or they just don't figure it out and they don't get mad. It's just like, where were you? What happened to you? It's like, oh, I was around the corner. It's like, oh, okay. So hopefully that's how that plays out, because that would be the best way. But it can't be more than like 4 more episodes for her before she figures it out. I couldn't believe that it could possibly last more than 4 more episodes where she doesn't realize that he's the Flash. So looking forward to that, because if they actually manage to make this work beyond this season, I might get a little mad, because it would be, considering she could figure out Barry couldn't see on a dinner date because he was wearing the glasses and everything, which had like video cameras and all this stuff. If she could figure that out in a couple hours, I refuse to believe that we're gonna end the season and Patty's not gonna know who he is. Like, I just refuse to believe that. So looking forward to her figuring that out. But to get back, I guess, to the main thing, instead of rambling about her finally realizing he's Flash, Gorilla Grodd wanting to make more of his own kind, pretty interesting concept. I love the fact that they used Earth 2 Wells, and for whatever reason there was another Reverse Flash costume. Love the fact that they did that, and they kind of used him, which this is the second time. Was it Joe? No, it was Barry in this episode. But Barry, when he saw Wells in the costume, didn't even think. He just charged at him, and it was like, what the heck is going on? Then he was about to lose his mind because he saw him in the Reverse Flash outfit. But that's like the second time something crazy's happened, and I never mentioned this in my review before. But when Joe first saw Wells from Earth 2, and he just pulled out his gun, it's like he sometimes instantly gets attacked because people, they see him and it's like they revert right back to old Wells, and it's like we gotta put him down. Like, what the f is happening? And it's so funny to see that sometimes, but at the same time, it's a little sad because it's like it shows how much of a bad effect that Earth One Wells, or technically Eobard Thawne, had on the cast, specifically Joe and Barry. So it was like it was crazy to see him do that and not be able to recognize that he saw him in the costume, and it's just like I need to charge at him. So that was kind of an interesting little moment for his character. Like it just happened. It was like instinct for him. He didn't even take the time to register. Like, it's not him. It's just a costume. But very cool that they used that to mess with Gorilla Grodd. Didn't work because he said please, and that was it. But he kind of brought it back. So I thought that was pretty cool. Caitlin felt really sorry for Gorilla Grodd, and it's like she was always nice to Grodd, and she wanted to make things work for him the best way she could. And even when they kind of save him at the end and they send him to Earth 2, it kind of, it's not like, she doesn't feel like it's the best ending. And I think it is for him, but it might not be for them. Because considering his character, considering who he is in the comic books, even with them putting him on Earth 2 with all these other, like, genius gorillas and everything, because there were, like, statues of gorillas and everything. It was almost like a gorilla Mount Rushmore and this crazy giant sanctuary. I still think he's going to turn evil. I don't think that the other gorillas are going to be in the same mindset as him, and he'll probably turn them evil. That might not happen in, like, for a couple of seasons where they do something crazy, like, it'll be like some Planet of the Apes type stuff. But just based off of what I know of his character just being an evil character, I feel like he might actually turn those gorillas evil and kind of try to bring them back to Earth 1 and we'll take over Earth 2 and we'll take over Earth 1 at the same time or something. So I don't know if it was the best idea, but I think Gorilla Grodd will be fine where he's at. Something else that's pretty big from this episode about the Reverse Flash costume is actually they talk about the ring in this one, which I really love, because Barry's like, oh, see if you can figure out how to get the costume into this ring, because it's much easier than carrying around the bag. So I think by the time we end this season, Barry might actually have his Flash ring on, and we'll get to see him change clothes by like hit the button and the ring, the costume shoots out of the ring, and he'll just switch into his costume, put his regular clothes, stuff him into the ring, and it'll be be even more like Flash. So I don't know if that'll be the case, but I would love for that to happen by the end of the season. We got to see it once in the last season with Wells when he shot the suit out, which personally I thought was pretty awesome. So I'd love to see them do that again with Barry, and maybe if they have him practice it, like he shoots it out and he can't figure out how to like stuff it in fast enough or something. But it was kind of cool that they mentioned that, like, he's, they're just moving him, obviously closer and closer to looking like the normal Flash. And so he's got his ring and everything. So looking forward to him getting that fairly soon, hopefully sooner rather than later. But that was pretty awesome. Wells was totally going to leave them too in this episode. He was going to take off like, you know what? I thought Barry could beat him. I was pretty much wrong. And he admitted that he was wrong, which was pretty cool of his character. And he was going to leave. He was going to not risk anyone else's life. Also pretty cool for his character, considering how he's kind of acted in the past couple. So he's really joining the team, which is actually kind of awesome. He gets an idea from Caitlin about trapping Zoom, which is going to be pretty cool. I can't wait to see them just do that, because it's going to be dangerous, but they don't have much of a choice, so they're going to try to figure out a way to close all the portals. They know that the portals go from different locations in Earth 1 to Earth 2, because in Earth 1, when they got rid of Gorilla Grodd, I'm pretty sure he was sent to, like, Africa, if I'm remembering right from the map. But that was something else they revealed, and it was just like, oh, so it's not just like, the one in Star Labs is very unique compared to all the other ones. They go all over the place, and they kind of have to figure out, why is that? So I'm looking forward to that answer. I don't know if that'll even matter, to be totally honest, but I am kind of looking forward to it. And I just can't wait to see this crossover. I'm really looking forward to this Vandal Savage. It's super awesome. It's really going to lead a lot into Legends of Tomorrow, so cannot wait to see this crossover take place. We're going to have pretty much everyone in it. Plus, we're going to get to see Hawk Girl in her like full form. And there's a picture online you can definitely look up already. That's pretty cool. It's Hawk Girl, Hawkman, Flash, Arrow. I believe Adam is in it, and I'm pretty sure it might just be those five. There may be some other people in there too, which I also kind of don't want to spoil, but for the most part, you kind of know who's going to be in Legends of Tomorrow. Hopefully, and I didn't just spoil that for you. But it's been out for so long, I kind of just have to talk about it sometimes when they show the characters. So, love the episode. Surprised how they got rid of Gorilla Grodd, to be totally honest. I was surprised that that's how it played out. For a second there, I was admittedly worried that Caitlyn was going to get sucked into Earth 2, and then I was like, that's how she's going to become Killer Frost. It would actually be Earth 1 Caitlyn. And there's just always something, because I'm still worried in my head that something could happen that turns her into a metahuman. I don't know what. Like, it, we already had the Earth 2 Wells, watch thing, so I don't think so, but it just keeps freaking me out. Like, every time I see something where she might be in danger, I'm like, she's going to get sucked through a portal. That's how she comes back as Killer Frost. That wouldn't even make sense, but every time I'm just like, this could happen. She could turn into, Killer Frost, and she'll be evil. Or, she'll actually be evil now. So, don't know how it's going to play out, but love this episode. Of course, want to know what you guys thought about it, so please comment below. Let me know your favorite parts, your least favorite parts. And with this new plan that they have, kind of closing off all these different portals, I want to know what you guys think is going to be the end result of that, because even with them closing off all these portals, which probably won't happen for quite a while because they have to figure out how to close the portals to begin with. I think Harrison mentioned that he knew how to close it, so they might be able to do that already. And they know how to open them for sure because they already made a device to open them. So reverse that and boom, you're closing them. So I'm sure that's fine. But what do you guys think the end result is actually going to end up being? Because Zoom is stronger than Barry. We don't know what the heck is happening with Jay Garrick. He's gone, which I'm still confused where he went to, because I was so sure he was in Earth 2, and then they were talking about how he's just left. So I don't know where he could possibly be unless he's looking for Earth 1 Jay Garrick, which I guess he could be, which I don't know. I guess curiosity, but he may or may not end up getting his powers back at some point. I feel like they have to do that. That has to be like the finale, where they're both fighting against him and it takes the two of them, or some episode when they actually beat Zoom. I feel like it would have to be both of them working together, and that's how they defeat Zoom, because he's fast, but he can't take on two speedsters at once. So maybe that's how it works, maybe it's not, but I want to know your speculations for how this forceful confrontation is really going to end for them. So please comment below, let me know, and thanks for watching.